Welcome back, agents. I'm your guide into the unknown. Get ready, because we're about to count down the top 10 scariest SCPs that lurk in the shadows of this mysterious and unsettling universe. From mind-bending entities to unspeakable horrors, these SCPs are not for the faint of heart. So grab your flashlights and steel your nerves because we're going in. SCP-682 is a Keter-class anomaly, known as the hard-to-destroy reptile. It is described as a large, vaguely reptile-like creature of unknown origin. It appears to be extremely intelligent and was observed to engage in complex communication with SCP-079. During their limited time of exposure, SCP-682 appears to have a hatred of all life, which has been expressed in several interviews during containment. SCP-682 has always been observed to have extremely high strength, speed, and reflexes, though exact levels vary with its form. SCP-682's physical body grows and changes very quickly, growing or decreasing in size as it consumes or sheds material. SCP-682 gains energy from anything it ingests, organic or inorganic. Digestion seems to be aided by a set of filtering gills inside of SCP-682's nostrils, which are able to remove usable matter from any liquid solution, enabling it to constantly regenerate from the acid it is contained in. SCP-682's regenerative capabilities and resilience are staggering, and SCP-682 has been seen moving and speaking with its body 87% destroyed or rotted. I will now play you a portion of an interview log with SCP-682.
Now, why did you kill those farmers? If you don't talk now, we will remove you from this attempt and place you back into...
Incomprehensible.
Pardon?
Incomprehensible.
Speak up.
They were incomprehensible.
His throat's messed up, man. Look at it. He ain't talking.
They were disgusting.
SCP-106 is another Keter-class anomaly. SCP-106 appears to be an elderly humanoid with a general appearance of advanced decomposition. This appearance may vary, but the rotting quality is observed in all forms. SCP-106 is not exceptionally agile and will remain motionless for days at a time, waiting for prey. SCP-106 is also capable of scaling any vertical surface and can remain suspended upside down indefinitely. When attacking, SCP-106 will attempt to incapacitate prey by damaging major organs, muscle groups, or tendons, then pull disabled prey into its pocket dimension. SCP-106 appears to prefer human prey items in the 10 to 25 years of age bracket. SCP-106 causes a corrosion effect in all solid matter it touches, engaging a physical breakdown in materials several seconds after contact. This is observed as rusting, rotting, and cracking of materials, and the creation of a black, mucus-like substance similar to the material coating SCP-106. This effect is particularly detrimental to living tissues and is assumed to be a pre-digestion action. Corrosion continues for 6 hours after contact, after which the effect appears to burn out. SCP-106 is capable of passing through solid matter, leaving behind a large patch of its corrosive mucus. SCP-106 can vanish inside solid matter, entering what is assumed to be a form of pocket dimension. SCP-106 is then able to exit this dimension from any point connected to the initial entry point. Examples: entering the inner wall of a room and exiting the outer wall, entering a wall and exiting from the ceiling. It is unknown if this is the point of origin for SCP-106 or a simple lair created by SCP-106. Limited observation of this pocket dimension has shown it to be comprised mostly of halls and rooms. This activity can continue for days, with some subjected individuals being released for the express purpose of hunting. SCP-106 appears to go through long periods of dormancy, in which it will remain completely motionless for up to 3 months. The cause for this is unknown, however, it has been shown that this appears to be used as a lulling tactic. SCP-106 will emerge from this state in a very agitated state and will attack and abduct staff and cause gross damage to its containment cell and the site at large. Recall protocol. Data expunged. SCP-106 appears to hunt and attack based on desire, not hunger. SCP-106 will attack and collect multiple prey items during a hunting behavior event, keeping many alive in the pocket dimension for extended periods. SCP-106 has no determinable limit and appears to collect a random number of prey items during an event. The inner dimension accessed by SCP-106 appears to be only accessible by SCP-106. Recording and transmission devices have been shown to still operate inside this dimension, though recordings and transmissions are very degraded. It appears that SCP-106 will play with captured prey and appears to have full control of time, space, and perception inside this dimension. SCP-106 appears. Data expunged. SCP-087. Object Class Euclid. SCP-087 is an unlit platform staircase. Stairs descend on a 38-degree angle for 13 steps before reaching a semicircular platform of approximately 3 meters in diameter. The descent direction rotates 180 degrees at each platform. The design of SCP-087 limits subjects to a visual range of approximately 1.5 flights. A light source is required for any subjects exploring SCP-087, as there are no lighting fixtures or windows present. Lighting sources brighter than 75 watts have shown to be ineffective, as SCP-087 seems to absorb excess light. Subjects report and audio recordings confirm the distressed vocalizations from what is presumed to be a child between the ages of. The source of the distress calls is estimated to be located approximately 200 meters below the initial platform. However, any attempts to descend the staircase have failed to bring subjects closer to the source. The depth of descent calculated from Exploration 4, the longest exploration, is shown to be far beyond the possible structure of both the building and geological surroundings. At this time, it is unknown if SCP-087 has an endpoint. SCP-087 has undergone 4 video-recorded explorations by Class D personnel. Each subject conducting an exploration has encountered SCP-087-1, which appears as a face with no visible pupils, nostrils, or mouth. The nature of SCP-087-1 is entirely unclear, but it has been determined that it is not the source of the pleading. Subjects exhibit feelings of intense paranoia and fear when faced with SCP-087-1, but it is undetermined whether said feelings are abnormal or simply natural reactions. SCP-087 is located on a college campus. The doorway leading to SCP-087 is constructed of reinforced steel with an electro-release lock mechanism. It has been disguised to resemble a janitorial closet consistent with the design of the building. The lock mechanism on the doorknob will not release unless volts are applied in conjunction with the counter-clockwise rotation of the key. The inside of the door is lined with 6 centimeters of industrial foam padding. SCP-4666. Object Class Keter. SCP-4666 is currently believed to be a single, exceptionally long-lived humanoid entity of unknown origin. Survivors of Weissnacht events typically describe SCP-4666 as a very tall, between 2m and 2.3 meters, elderly male of European descent, with an extremely emaciated appearance. The entity always appears completely naked, even when observed outdoors in freezing weather. Though the nature and extent of its anomalous properties remain uncertain, SCP-4666 appears capable of instantaneous or near-instantaneous travel to any location north of 40 TD green latitude and possibly to any location on Earth. SCP-46666 activity occurs exclusively within a period of 12 consecutive nights every year. From the night of December to the night of January. This period is known as SCP-4666 active phase. During this phase, in what is termed Weissnacht events, SCP-4666 will appear at dwellings in one or multiple locations north of 40 latitude. In all known Weissnacht events, These dwellings have shared the following characteristics. Isolated rural location, home to a family with at least one child under the age of 8, and situated in an area with snow cover lasting throughout the event. Web traffic and law enforcement channels worldwide are to be monitored for evidence of SCP-4666 activity, particularly for cases of stalking or reports of anomalous phenomena involving families with young children. Should a Weissnacht event be suspected to be in progress, the nearest containment task force is to be dispatched to attempt containment of SCP-4666. Standard PDP, say. Humanoid first contact protocols apply. Media coverage of family deaths attributed to SCP-4666 is to be suppressed or falsified to make said deaths appear as non-anomalous home invasion murders. Forensic evidence and SCP-466A instances collected by non-Foundation agencies are to be confiscated and witnesses amnesticized. SCP-049. Object Class Euclid. SCP-049 is a humanoid entity, roughly 1.9 meters in height, which bears the appearance of a medieval plague doctor. While SCP-049 appears to be wearing the thick robes and the ceramic mask indicative of that profession, the garments instead seem to have grown out of SCP-049's body over time and are now nearly indistinguishable from whatever form is beneath them. X-rays indicate that, despite this, SCP-049 does have a humanoid skeletal structure beneath its outer layer. SCP-049 is capable of speech in a variety of languages, though tends to prefer English or medieval French. While SCP-049 is generally cordial and cooperative with Foundation staff, it can become especially irritated or, at times, outright aggressive if it feels that it is in the presence of what it calls the pestilence. Although the exact nature of this pestilence is currently unknown to Foundation researchers, it does seem to be an issue of immense concern to SCP-049. SCP-049 will become hostile with individuals it sees as being affected by the pestilence, often having to be restrained should it encounter such. If left unchecked, SCP-049 will generally attempt to kill any such individual. SCP-049 is capable of causing all biological functions of an organism to cease through direct skin contact. How this occurs is currently unknown, and autopsies of SCP-049's victims have invariably been inconclusive. SCP-049 has expressed frustration or remorse after these killings, indicating that they have done little to kill the pestilence, though will usually seek to then perform a crude surgery on the corpse using the implements contained within a black doctor's bag it carries on its person at all times. While these surgeries are not always successful, they often result in the creation of instances of SCP-049-2. SCP-049-2 instances are reanimated corpses that have been operated on by SCP-049. These instances do not seem to retain any of their prior memories or mental functions, having only basic motor skills and response mechanisms. While these instances are generally inactive, moving very little, and in a generally ambulatory fashion, they can become extremely aggressive if provoked, or if directed to, by SCP-049. SCP-049-2 instances express active biological functions, though these are vastly different from currently understood human physiology. Despite these alterations, SCP-049 often remarks that the subjects have been cured. SCP-049 is contained within a standard secure humanoid containment cell in Research Sector 02 at Site 19. SCP-049 must be sedated before any attempts to transport it. During transport, SCP-049 must be secured within a Class 3 humanoid restriction harness, including a locking collar and extension restraints, and monitored by no fewer than 2 armed guards. While SCP-049 is generally cooperative with most Foundation personnel, outbursts or sudden changes in behavior are to be met with elevated force. Under no circumstances should any personnel come into direct contact with SCP-049 during these outbursts. In the event SCP-049 becomes aggressive, the application of lavender has been shown to produce a calming effect on the entity. Once calmed, SCP-049 generally becomes compliant and will return to containment with little resistance. In order to facilitate the ongoing containment of SCP-049, the entity is to be provided with the corpse of a recently deceased animal, typically a bovine or other large mammal, once every 2 weeks for study. Corpses that become instances of SCP-049-2 are to be removed from SCP-049's containment cell and incinerated. SCP-049 is no longer permitted to interact with human subjects, and requests for human subjects are to be denied. Temporary Containment Procedure. Update. Per Containment Committee Order 049 S19.17.1 SCP-049 is no longer permitted to interact directly with any members of Foundation staff, nor is it to be provided with any additional corpses to be used in its surgeries. This order shall persist indefinitely until such time a consensus regarding the ongoing containment of SCP-049 can be reached. SCP-966. Object Class: Euclid. SCP-966 are predatory creatures that resemble hairless, digitigrade humans, possessing an elongated face with a mouth lined with needle-like teeth. On each hand, they have 5 claws that can be up to 20 cm long. Although sharp, these are easily broken, making them unfit for combat. SCP-966's height ranges from 1.4 to 1.6 meters, and they can reach up to 30 kg in weight. Physically, SCP-966 are weak, possessing hollow bones and low muscular density. They do not seem to rest through sleep. Instead, they will suddenly cease all movement at seemingly random intervals of time, resuming normal activity 3 to 5 minutes later. SCP-966 are visible only at wavelengths ranging from 700 nanometer to about 900 nanometer. This applies to all of SCP-966's tissues. If their skin, muscles, or organs have suffered from 2nd to 3rd degree burns, the affected areas will be visible at wavelengths ranging from 360 to 900 nanometer. SCP-966 feeds on medium to large-sized animals, including humans. They hunt either alone or in pairs. Their hunting methods consist of emitting a single burst of a previously unknown type of wave, which permanently inhibits the ability of the affected creature to enter any of the NREM and REM sleep stages. The ability to micro-sleep is also lost. The effective range of the waves is up to 20 meters. However, tests show that they can be blocked by post-transition metals, particularly lead. All attempts to make victims of SCP-966 sleep have failed. It is still possible to induce other forms of unconsciousness, although these will usually prove detrimental to the affected subject as they do not provide true rest. After depriving their victims of sleep, SCP-966 will stalk their prey until the lack of rest incapacitates it. At this point, SCP-966 will proceed to consume it. SCP-966 has proved to be very agile and silent while stalking its victims. On occasion, they will deliberately make threatening noises around the prey to further stress it, and may even physically assault it if the victim proves to be particularly durable. Other than the common symptoms caused by sleep deprivation, some victims of SCP-966 have shown signs of suffering from extremely vivid hallucinations, as well as sudden bouts of rage with no apparent external stimuli. It is currently thought that these are the effects of prolonged exposure to waves. Why SCP-966 continually exposes these waves to only some of their victims is unknown. One hypothesis is that SCP-966 will only do this when starving, since it further degenerates the physical and mental state of their prey, incapacitating it at a faster rate. MTF Iota-1. Dream Hunters and MTF Iota-2. Air chasers are to regularly be on the lookout for news about sudden, violent human deaths related to sleep deprivation, to find and neutralize remaining wild instances of SCP-966. The 4 specimens of SCP-966, 3 males, designated SCP-9661, SCP-9663, and SCP-9664, and 1 female designated SCP-9662, acquired by the Foundation, must be contained in a 10x10 room made of steel, lined with lead, located on site. 2 security cameras with infrared filters and infrared-sensitive film are to be installed inside the room. Each specimen of SCP-966 is to be fed with 20 kilos of meat every month. In the event of SCP-9662 giving birth, the newborn specimen is to be studied and disposed of before it reaches maturity. SCP-178 is a pair of white stereoscopic 3D glasses with a rectangular white cardboard frame and lenses of transparent blue and red plastic. The item exhibits no unusual physical properties, apart from a slight discoloration of the cardboard consistent with age. When worn, the wearer begins perceiving large bipedal entities in addition to their ordinary surroundings. Entities reportedly exhibit docile and occasionally curious behavior. Reports include entities leaning over the shoulder of persons working and observing them with interest. With one exception, any attempt by the wearer or any other personnel, see Incident Report, Run 7814 Alpha, to directly interact with the entities results in severe lacerations suddenly appearing on the persons involved. The appearance of lacerations is rapid and continues until the moment the wearer expires. The pattern of lacerations is always consistent with being slashed with 3 parallel, tapered sharp objects of lengths varying between 14.2 and 27.4 cm and maximum thickness varying between 2.9 and 8.1 cm. Recording and measuring devices used during testing failed to detect any anomalies, including while lacerations were appearing on the subject. Subjects do not report hearing any sounds emanating from the entities. Long-term observation of subjects exposed to the item reveals no lasting effects. Stereoscopic images viewed through the item appear 3-dimensional. Addendum 1. The item was recovered on 1999 in Tennessee by agent operating as a deep cover agent in the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, who arrived in the town following reports of a year-old child being found dead in her second-floor bedroom, apparently as a result of an unusual mauling. Agent noticed a blood-stained stereoscopic image of a Ferris wheel adjacent to where the child was discovered, and after some searching, found the item under the child's bed where it had been thrown during the child's death throes. Agent then proceeded to call a recovery team to his location. Following the recovery team's arrival, Agent wore the item and looked at the image, reporting nothing unusual until he turned his head to his left, whereupon he noticed an entity approximately an inch from his face leaning over his shoulder and looking at the stereoscopic image. In the debriefing, Agent reported also noticing several other entities in the room, observing him and the recovery team. Agent refrained from attempting to interact with the entities, and the item was recovered without incident. SCP-122. Object Class Thormeal. SCP-122 is a plastic nightlight in the shape of a star, thought to have been manufactured between 1960 and 1980. When in a powered state, SCP-122 has been reported to be able to exude a sense of calmness, comfort, and safety to those within a roughly 20-kilometer radius. As such, it has been known to alleviate symptoms of currently prevailing psychological conditions in subjects. Examples of these psychological conditions include psychological stress, paranoia, phobias, anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorder. However, these alleviating effects are only present when SCP-122 is within the same room as a child under the age of 14 who subscribes to the beliefs of traditional Abrahamic religions too. This aforementioned child subject, referred to henceforth as SCP-122-1, is currently 7-year-old Anna Talon, who was procured into Foundation custody in 2017. When in SCP-122's containment cell, SCP-122-1 has reported sightings of an angel in her dreams, henceforth referred to as SCP-122-2. Refer to SCP-122-U's records for further information regarding SCP-122-2. SCP-122-2 has also been reported as sometimes appearing within the dreams of personnel affected by SCP-12-3. Based on reports, it has been associated with positive feelings such as that of security and relief. From this, it can be inferred that SCP-122-2 is related in some part to the aforementioned positive effects. Since the beginning of SCP-122's use in supplementing psychological assistance efforts in Site-135, annual personnel turnover rates have been reduced by 90%, with annual personnel suicide rates being reduced by 85%. With Site-135 having recorded the highest instances of either statistic of all sites before the use of SCP-122, the subject has been integral to the continued operation of the site. SCP-096, Object Class, Euclid. SCP-096 is a humanoid creature measuring approximately 2.38 meters in height. The subject shows very little muscle mass, with a preliminary analysis of body mass suggesting mild malnutrition. Arms are grossly out of proportion with the rest of the subject's body, with an approximate length of 1.5 meters each. Skin is mostly devoid of pigmentation, with no sign of any body hair. SCP-096's jaw can open to 4 times the norm of an average human. Other facial features remain similar to an average human except for the eyes, which are also devoid of pigmentation. It is not yet known whether SCP-0096 is blind or not. It shows no signs of any higher brain functions and is not considered to be sapient. SCP-096 is normally extremely docile, with pressure sensors inside its cell indicating it spends most of the day pacing by the eastern wall. However, when someone views SCP-096's face, whether it be directly, via video recording, or even a photograph, it will enter a stage of considerable emotional distress. SCP-096 will cover its face with its hands and begin screaming, crying, and babbling incoherently. Approximately 1 to 2 minutes after the first viewing, SCP-096 will begin running to the person who viewed its face, who will from this point on be referred to as SCP-096-1. Documented speeds have varied from and seem to depend on distance from SCP-096-1. At this point, no known material or method can impede SCP-096's progress. The actual position of SCP-096-01 does not seem to affect SCP-096's response. It seems to have an innate sense of SCP-096-1's location. Note: this reaction does not occur when viewing artistic depictions. See Document 096-1. Upon arriving at SCP-096-1's location, SCP-096 will proceed to kill and SCP-096-1. 100% of cases have left no traces of SCP-096-1. SCP-096 will then sit down for several minutes before regaining its composure and becoming docile once again. It will then attempt to make its way back to its natural habitat. Due to the possibility of a mass chain reaction, including breach of Foundation secrecy and large civilian loss of life, retrieval of the subject should be considered alpha priority. SCP-096 is to be contained in its cell, a 5mx-5 airtight steel cube, at all times. Weekly checks for any cracks or holes are mandatory. There are to be no video surveillance or optical tools of any kind inside SCP-096's cell. Security personnel will use pre-installed pressure sensors and laser detectors to ensure SCP-096's presence inside the cell. SCP-173, Object Class Euclid, moved to Site-19, 1993. Origin is as of yet unknown. It is constructed from concrete and rebar with traces of Krylon brand spray paint. SCP-173 is animate and extremely hostile. The object cannot move while within a direct line of sight. The line of sight must not be broken at any time with SCP-173. Personnel assigned to enter the container are instructed to alert one another before blinking. Object is reported to attack by snapping the neck at the base of the skull or by strangulation. In the event of an attack, Personnel are to observe Class 4, hazardous object containment procedures. Personnel report sounds of scraping stones originating from within the container when no one is present inside. This is considered normal, and any change in this behavior should be reported to the acting HMCL supervisor on duty. The reddish-brown substance on the floor is a combination of feces and blood. The origin of these materials is unknown. The enclosure must be cleaned on a bi-weekly basis. Item SCP-173 is to be kept in a locked container at all times. When personnel must enter SCP-173's container, no fewer than 3 may enter at any time, and the door is to be re-locked behind them. At all times, 2 persons must maintain direct eye contact with SCP-173 until all personnel have vacated and relocked the container. And there you have it. We've journeyed through corridors of the unknown and peeked into the darkest corners of the SCP Foundation. Did any of these entries surprise you, or are there other SCPs that you think should have made the list? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this spine-tingling expedition, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us uncover more secrets of the SCP universe.